At 16, I dropped out of school and was working in the fields, picking corn. A rich young master from the city pulled up in his luxury car, cigarette dangling from his lips, arguing with his girlfriend. "Are you really breaking up with me?" The girl sneered. "Of course, if it weren't for wanting to get close to your brother, I wouldn't have wasted my time with some spoiled brat like you. Ask anyone who could ever love someone like you." Furious, the man stomped his foot, then waved me over in a fit of defiance. "Hey, I'll sponsor your schooling, feed and clothe you, give you enough money to last a lifetime. In exchange, you'll love me, deal?" I didn't hesitate. "Okay." Later, he said to me again, "You should go after my brother. Only if he starts dating someone will Miranda finally give up." Chapter 1. I didn't immediately agree to Kevin's request. Compared to 7 years ago, I'd changed a lot. Kevin had raised me well. He paid for my education, found tutors, enrolled me in every hobby class I wanted, whatever I wanted to learn. He never refused me. When I graduated last year, he spent a fortune to buy me a car and an apartment. That summer, when I was learning to drive, he patiently accompanied me every single day, never once complaining of being tired. Now, nobody calls me a country bumpkin anymore. They say I'm the girl the second young master dotes on, his child bride of sorts. After all, he spared no effort in lifting me up. He spent 7 years raising a flower. Now that flower had bloomed beautifully, in full glory. How could he possibly hand it over to someone else? But no one expected Miranda to come back. She had broken up with Kevin and gone abroad, cutting off contact with everyone. Last month, she returned, and the very first thing she did was confess to Simon. But he rejected her. Hardly anyone knew that Miranda had always liked Simon. After her failed confession, she must have had no one to confide in, because she cried as she called Kevin. "Kevin, I'm back." Just those 4 words threw him completely off balance. Later, she kept getting her heart broken over Simon, and every time, it was Kevin who comforted her. He both pitied her and grew angry. Why? He was willing to give her his very heart. Yet she only had eyes for his cold, taciturn brother. But I never thought he would come up with such a ridiculous idea. In my view, a man like Simon would never like any girl at all. Yet Kevin begged me every single day. He sent me flowers, designer handbags, money pouring onto me like water. My colleagues thought he was courting me. "I always suspected you two weren't just friends. He treats you so well, and he's clearly loaded. You should say yes already. If you get together, remember to treat us to a meal." I only smiled and stayed silent. Yes, he really did treat me well. His kindness was something I could never repay in this lifetime. At that moment, Kevin called me. His voice carried a lazy drawl. "Did you get the flowers? Do you like them?" I hummed in response. He sighed. "Forget it, if you really don't want to." I cut him off. "I'll do it." Kevin froze. "What?" "I'll do what you asked of me." There was silence on his end, then sudden laughter. "All right then, if you can't win him over, it doesn't matter. I'll still take care of you for the rest of your life." Then, as if explaining himself, he added, "All these years, they've introduced my brother to at least 80, if not 100, girls. He's never cared for any of them, only with you has he shown even a hint of warmth. Otherwise, I'd never have asked you to do this." I listened, gazing at the moonlit sky, and after a long while, I nodded. "Okay." Then I heard the click of a lighter. He was smoking again. He called my name, voice slightly muffled. "By the way, I've never asked you before. Selena, do you have someone you like?" I was stunned. "Does it matter?" "Yes, if you like someone, I won't let you do this. I can't ruin your future." I glanced at the roses blooming on my desk. I'd heard he used to always send flowers to Miranda, flown in from abroad, each stem costing more than half a month's wages for an average person. I pressed my lips together. No. Chapter 2. In truth, I lied to Kevin. I liked him. From the very first moment I saw him, I liked him. But all these years, his heart only held Miranda. A couple of days later, Kevin personally organized a welcome-back banquet for Miranda. He even sent me an invitation. I heard that it was Miranda who insisted on seeing me after learning about my existence. She said, "The girl from that cornfield 7 years ago? You really brought her back." Kevin? She was so dark, skinny, and small. Not pretty at all. I thought you were just joking back then. I'm honestly curious what she looks like now. I happened to have something going on, so I turned it down immediately. But Kevin sent me several messages. The last one read, "My brother will be there too. You haven't forgotten what you promised me, right?" Staring at the screen, my chest felt clogged, heavy. The suffocation was unbearable, but since he put it that way, I couldn't refuse. Otherwise, wouldn't that make me seem ungrateful and disrespectful? When I arrived, they were all playing cards. Someone spotted me, and their expression turned odd. Unlike before, no one greeted me. In the past, out of respect for Kevin, they flattered me, calling me Missy. But now, anyone with eyes could tell Kevin wasn't going to marry me. I walked over and glanced at the table. Out of everyone there, only Miranda was winning. Kevin was good at these games. I could tell he was deliberately letting Miranda win. After a while, Miranda noticed me. She looked surprised, covered her mouth, and exclaimed, "Wow, you've changed so much. I remember you used to be." Then she clicked her tongue, leaving her words hanging, and waved her hand casually before standing up to give me her seat. "Here, you play. I'm tired." Then she picked up her phone and tapped on it. Being close by, I saw the name on the screen. It was Simon, but nearly all the messages were one-sided. From beginning to end, there was no reply from him. I sat down, and Kevin's expression grew cold. When he drew his cards again, his movements were restless, irritated. The stakes were high, and nobody held back for me. Within minutes, I lost more than 100,000. Chapter 3. Miranda stood to the side, speaking with exaggerated concern. "What's wrong with you guys? Letting her lose so much? Where would she get that kind of money? Can she even afford it?" Someone tossed the cards onto the table. It was Oliver, Kevin's closest friend. He lifted his eyes carelessly. "What's there to worry about? Kevin's got her covered." And he was right. That was always how it used to be. Miranda arched a brow. "Oh, is that so?" Kevin gave a short grunt of agreement, pulling out his phone to make a transfer. But I spoke up first. "No need. I'll pay myself." Kevin glanced at me, his eyes darkening. "Don't be ridiculous." I gave a small laugh. "It's fine. I can't keep depending on you forever." Over the years, because of Kevin, I had learned quite a few ways to earn money. I had managed to save some. I even opened a separate bank account, depositing money into it regularly, preparing to pay Kevin back one day. But of course, he didn't know any of this, so I transferred the money to them. Kevin had won the most. He stared at the screen for a long time before snorting and tapping accept. Well, Selena, looks like you've grown some skills." After a while, I went to the restroom. When I came back out, I happened to catch Kevin and Miranda arguing in the hallway. "Didn't you say Simon would be here? Why isn't he here yet?" "He got held up." "What? You still can't let go of my brother? You've chased him for so long. Has he ever paid attention to you?" "So what? I don't care. But you, why keep that girl Selena around?" Kevin fixed his gaze on her. "Jealous. Are you?" "No, I just can't stand women like her. Freeloading off someone else's table like a parasite. She must have cost you plenty over the years, right?" Kevin raised his hand and rubbed his nose. "Come on. I was just mad at you. If you'd give up on my brother and get back with me, I'd cut Selena off immediately and never bother with her again." The hallway was dimly lit. Standing in the corner, I felt my heart turn ice cold. I didn't keep listening. I walked in the opposite direction, calmed myself down, and then headed back. When I pushed open the door, the room was already empty. Outside, I realized it was pouring. Oliver, who had gone off to vomit earlier, hadn't left yet. He came out, spotted me, and paused. "You're still here?" "Oh, Kevin just left to drive Miranda home. The rain's too heavy, and this place is remote, but I'm not headed your way." "Why don't you wait a bit? I'll call Kevin and have him come back for you." I shook my head. "Forget it." Oliver sighed but didn't press further. He took his date by the hand and left. I regretted not driving myself earlier. I pulled out my phone, trying to call a ride, but no one accepted the request. I checked the map. There was a bus stop nearby. Making up my mind, I stepped into the rain, but I had barely taken a few steps when an umbrella appeared above me. Then came a low, cold voice, just like the rumors said. Distant and unfeeling. Selena. Chapter 4. That night, the rain poured down in sheets. It was Simon who drove me home. On the way, he took a call. It was from Kevin. I was sitting close enough to hear Kevin's voice clearly through the speaker. Bro, we all left already, so don't bother coming over, all right? Simon raised an eyebrow, not bothering to mention that he had actually already gone to the club. You said you had something urgent for me, then bailed at the last minute. So tell me, what was it really about? Well, actually, Miranda wanted to see you. You know her temper. I couldn't say no to her. Simon's lips curved into a humorless smile. What? Whatever she wants. You just hand it over? You'd even sell out your own brother? Kevin's tone was as careless as ever. Yeah, I would. You know I've loved her since we were kids. For her, I'd do anything. Give up anything. He paused, then sneered. And besides, it's your fault. You've never dated anyone. His voice suddenly halted, followed by a curse. Damn, I forgot about Selena. Gotta go. Bro. Simon glanced at me. He only said, well, I guess I should be flattered Kevin still remembered me at all. Simon hung up without another word. I silently turned my gaze out the window. My phone was sitting in my bag. If it had been before, I would have immediately taken it out to check if Kevin had called me. But now, maybe I was just too tired. I didn't move, and the phone never rang. That's when I realized I'd set it to silent during the meeting in the afternoon and had forgotten to switch it back. The ride was quiet the rest of the way. Finally, we reached the gate of my complex. I let out a breath of relief. The rain was still falling hard. Simon picked up an umbrella beside him and held it out to me. I thanked him and reached for it, but when my hand closed around it, he didn't let go. Puzzled, I looked at him. Simon? His gaze lingered on me. After what felt like a long time, he finally released the umbrella. Then he spoke calmly. If you're sad, it's okay to cry. He paused, then added, and if you ever need help, you can come to me. I won't tell anyone. My heart skipped a beat. It was then I noticed, ever since Kevin's call, my hands had been trembling. Of course, that line Kevin said, I'd give up anything. Wasn't he talking about me? I clenched my fists, meeting Simon's eyes, and suddenly gave a bitter little laugh. In these 7 years, I had barely seen him a handful of times, and yet, every time we crossed paths, it was always like this, humiliating. In that moment, for no reason at all, I felt a reckless impulse. I deliberately changed the way I addressed him. Simon, if I said, I want to date you, what then? Simon frowned, his gaze cold as he looked at me. That's not an option. Chapter 5. Back home, I tidied up a little, then I finally took my phone out of my bag. In just that short while, Kevin had called me dozens of times. Aside from the missed calls, there were also countless messages. I left in a hurry earlier. Forgot you were still there. I'll send someone to pick you up. Why aren't you answering? You didn't get into an accident, did you? Reply to me, quick. Are you mad? Forget it. I'll come over myself. The last one was sent 3 minutes ago. I thought about it, just about to call him back, to let him know he didn't need to worry. Then the screen showed the words typing. The next second, his new message popped up. Miranda's suddenly feeling unwell. I need to stay with her. Maybe I'll just have the driver come pick you up. I stared at that message for a long while. Then I typed back, no need. I'm already home. Kevin instantly replied with a 17-second voice note. Finally! I thought something had happened to you. Scared me half to death. As long as you're fine, that's good. I'm busy now. We'll talk later. I sighed. Okay. I suddenly remembered, over the years, I'd heard plenty of stories about Kevin and Miranda. How hard he had chased after her. He fought for her, got jealous over her, did all sorts of reckless things. When they were 18, Miranda's family ran into trouble. Kevin had begged his father for half a month, even went on a hunger strike. Only then did his father give in, paying a heavy price to help Miranda's family. Not long after that, the two of them got together. Everyone said Kevin was madly in love with Miranda. When I first appeared by his side, people whispered that he was insane, that he only took me on as some sort of provocation against Miranda, but his family agreed to it readily enough. After all, it was just sponsoring me through school. To them, that amount of money wasn't even enough to cover a few banquets. Chapter 6. From that day on, Kevin never reached out to me, but I knew he was with Miranda the whole time. He took her everywhere, skiing one day, watching the sunset the next. A few of his closest friends often tagged along. Oliver even posted group photos in his social feed. In the pictures, Kevin's eyes were always fixed on Miranda. Someone left a comment underneath. Tisk. The second young master and Miranda really are the better match. Exactly. Someone probably still thinks she can turn into a phoenix. But guess she's delusional now. I'd heard plenty of remarks like that. Back then, Kevin had lost his temper at people several times because of it. And eventually, they stopped daring to say such things. But this time, Kevin clearly didn't care at all, because he replied right there, under the post. Of course, you guys have sharp eyes. Miranda and I are meant for each other. Strangely, when I read those words, I didn't feel that sad. I even thought, fine then, I'll stop loving Kevin. Let them be that meant-to-be couple. The next second, I tapped like on that post. Then I left a comment. Next time, you can just say it directly, that someone is Selena. Riddles are boring, but funny coincidence. I also think they're a good match. Less than 2 minutes later, when I refreshed, the post was gone. Kevin sent me 2 messages right after. It's not a big deal. You've heard that kind of talk before. No need to get upset over it. Be good. I'll take you shopping in a couple of days. TCH. Right. It wasn't like it was the first time I'd been belittled. I was poor. My background was bad. So of course, people had plenty to say. I tossed my phone aside, took a shower. When I came back out, I saw he'd sent me a string of new messages. Not replying? Fine. But don't forget the promise you made me. I looked at them for a while, then sent back just one line. Okay. Chapter 7. It didn't take long before the news of me falling out with Kevin spread everywhere. Because that day, they just happened to be hanging out together. After I replied to Kevin's messages, he stared at the screen for a long while. And in the end, couldn't hold it in, he smashed his phone right then and there. Damn it. I didn't even say anything bad about her. She just loves throwing tantrums at me, like I owe her something. Funny coincidence. I was out having dinner with friends. Halfway through, I stepped outside to take a call and ran right into Oliver, who was chatting with someone in the hallway. This Selena. What an ungrateful brat. Kevin treats her so well. What's wrong with saying a few words to her? Honestly, she should be bowing down to Miranda. If it weren't for Miranda, Kevin wouldn't have even brought her back. Oliver clicked his tongue. All right. But you can't put it that way. Kevin's family has sponsored countless students over the years. Don't see you guys talking about anyone else like this. She's different. Kevin kept her by his side, pampered her like a treasure. Can those other students even compare to her? She's done plenty for Kevin too. All these years, whenever Kevin needed her, didn't she always come running? Not to mention that time, 2 years ago, when Kevin almost had that car accident, it was her who blocked it for him. And she ended up bedridden for 3 months. Yeah, that's true. But now that Miranda's back, her existence is nothing but an eyesore. I stood silently in the corner, only heading over after they went back into the private room. Honestly, if they hadn't brought it up, I would have nearly forgotten that heroic moment of mine. That day had been the first time in 5 years that Miranda called Kevin. She told him she had dreamed of Simon. She asked if he could secretly take a picture of Simon and send it to her. Kevin froze when he heard that. He didn't even see the car coming. I pushed him aside, but I didn't dodge myself. Got hit. Luckily, it wasn't too serious. Even so, I still had to have surgery, and I ended up staying in the hospital for 3 months. But in everyone's eyes, that was just something I was supposed to do. When Auntie came to visit me, she even said, "It's touching that you care so much for Kevin. He's always been careless. We never expected him to achieve much. If, in the future, he keeps treating you this well, I won't object to you becoming my daughter-in-law." Because of that incident, the nickname child bride stuck to me. Kevin never came forward to clarify it, so everyone assumed he had accepted it. Even I thought so. But now, if I still believed that, then I'd just be deluding myself. Chapter 8. Of course, I didn't have the time or energy to bother with those rumors outside. I had something more important to do. That was to chase Simon. I knew very well I wouldn't win him over. It was just a gesture, really, something to show Kevin. That way, even if things didn't go his way, I could still say I'd tried. No one could blame me then. I had no experience in this sort of thing, so I had to ask a friend for advice. Zoe, my college classmate, was very experienced in relationships. In her words, when it came to matters like this, I'd come to the right person. I asked her, "How do you win a man's favor?" On the other end, she clicked her tongue in disbelief. "Kevin? With how devoted he is to you, you really need to win him over?" Back in college, Kevin often came to see me. With his good looks and money, he was the type who naturally drew attention wherever he went. Over time, everyone knew how well he treated me, so well it was almost excessive. I just said casually, "I just want to learn." That night, Zoe poured out all her tricks and tips to me. From then on, I started pursuing Simon. Every day after work, I waited for him downstairs at the company building, bringing him flowers and love letters. The words in those letters were so cheesy that even I didn't want to read them twice. But Simon remained cold and indifferent. Still, he never embarrassed me. In fact, over the years, we had crossed paths several times. During my sophomore year, Kevin took me on a trip, and I caught a fever from the rain. But when Kevin heard that Miranda was in trouble, he immediately flew abroad overnight. In the end, it was Simon who stayed behind to take care of me. Once, when a client deliberately made things hard for me and spilled coffee on me, Simon stepped in to resolve it. Each time, it was when I was at my most miserable and embarrassed. I even took photos of myself pursuing Simon and sent them to Kevin. And then, he actually blocked me. I didn't mind. I figured I'd keep it up for another 10 days or so, and then report back to him all at once. That way, it wouldn't count as being ungrateful, right? But that very night, when I went shopping with Zoe, we ran into Kevin and Miranda. They had bought quite a lot of things. Kevin's spoiled young master temper completely disappeared in front of Miranda. Both his hands were full, carrying women's clothes and handbags. When he saw me, his steps froze. Miranda smiled. "Oh, it's you. What brings you here? Looking to buy something? Want me to recommend something for you?" "Oh right. Things here are pretty expensive. Did you bring enough money? Or did you know Kevin was here and come to swipe his card? Here, take it." She stretched out her palm, and lying there was Kevin's card. Zoe, hot-tempered as she was, instantly sensed something was off. She sneered. "What's that supposed to mean?" "So what? You think just because you're rich, you're superior?" Then she fixed her gaze on Kevin. "Selena even asked me how to win you over, and you just stand there letting another woman talk to her like this?" Zoe still didn't know that Miranda was his white moonlight. I pulled Zoe behind me, blocking her. "It's fine. Let me handle it." When I looked up again, Kevin was staring at me. His eyes carried both surprise and a trace of emotion. He said, "Actually, I'm not mad anymore. If you wanted to make up with me, you could have just said so. No need to go out of your way." And Miranda didn't mean anything bad with what she said. "Kevin," I cut him off. "All the money you've spent on me, I'll pay you back. Really, I'm grateful to you, but I won't keep clinging to you. Once I finish the task you gave me, I'll leave." Kevin stared at me, stunned. The things in his hands slipped and fell to the floor. "You." "That's not what I meant." I ignored him and dragged Zoe away. Once we left the mall, Zoe was still fuming. "You can't like Kevin anymore. That guy and that woman, there's definitely something going on. To think I used to believe he was a decent man." I chuckled. I don't like him anymore. Only then did Zoe finally calm down a little. I added, "Don't be mad. Once I'm done with all this, I'll treat you to a big meal." We'd originally gone shopping for her today, but thanks to all this drama, the mood had been ruined. She snorted. Fine. Chapter 9. Kevin removed me from his block list. He sent me a flood of messages. "I never meant for you to pay me back. I helped you because I wanted to, not because I expected anything. Don't take what Miranda said to heart. That's just her temper." I was too angry. "That's why I blocked you. What have you been up to lately? Let's just go back to how things were, okay?" I pretended not to see them. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent over all the photos I had saved recently, the cookies I baked for Simon, the envelopes of love letters, and 2 screenshots of our chat history. Nothing important, but I had been very proactive, almost overly enthusiastic, and every time I messaged, Simon replied, even if just briefly. After I sent all the photos, silence stretched on for a long while. Then, Kevin sent me a voice message. His tone was icy, laced with gritted teeth. "Well, thank you so much then. You really went all out for me." "Huh?" I answered humbly. "That's what I should do." He didn't reply again. That evening, I looked up some places online and messaged Zoe, asking her out for dinner. She suggested inviting a few more friends, making it a proper night out. I agreed. After dinner, we went to karaoke. Halfway through, I stepped out and unexpectedly heard my own name. "I've thought it through. Let's get back together. I know I'll never really end up with him. As for Selena, just get rid of her. She's occupied your life for 7 years. And just thinking about it makes me furious. Didn't she say herself today that she'll leave you?" The voice was Miranda's. I turned my head and saw her in Kevin's arms. Kevin looked at her, flustered. "You." Before he could finish, Miranda rose on her toes and kissed him. I immediately looked away and ran off in another direction. Well then, I didn't need to keep chasing Simon anymore. Of course, the whole thing was ridiculous to begin with, but what I didn't expect was to run into Simon right then. And clearly, he had seen everything too. He walked over and handed me a tissue. Pathetic. Even though I had made up my mind, even said harsh words, seeing them truly together still brought me to tears. This time, I didn't hold back. I took the tissue and wiped my face. "Thank you, but you know, the fact that you never accepted me, that was right. I'm not really a good person, and I don't deserve you. Just forget everything that happened these past weeks. I won't bother you anymore." Simon froze for a moment, then locked eyes with me. He said, "No." I blinked. "Huh?" His expression hardened, his voice serious. "What I mean is, I never thought you were beneath me. I rejected you because you weren't chasing me out of sincerity. Kevin asked you to do this, didn't he?" "Yes. He's done a lot for you, but that doesn't mean you have to do everything he asks. Do you understand? There are 1,000 ways to repay someone's kindness. Selena, you chose the dumbest one." Chapter 10. After that day, I threw myself back into work. Whenever I had questions, Simon would always answer them quickly. In this regard, he really was a great teacher. With his guidance, I slowly began to improve myself. Kevin, meanwhile, got back together with Miranda. He even had someone pass me a message that the favor he once asked of me no longer counted. But it didn't take long, maybe half a month, before I heard they had broken up. It was Kevin who initiated it. Honestly, I found it hard to believe. Kevin had loved Miranda so deeply, doing so much for her. Now that she had come back to him, how could he possibly be the one to end it? That day, after half a month of silence, I received another message from Kevin. "Do you have time these days? There's something I want to talk to you about. How about that Western restaurant you used to love? It's been a long time since I've seen you." I thought for a while, then replied, "I'm busy these days." After work, Simon happened to be nearby and came to pick me up for dinner. Maybe it was because of that night when we had spoken so openly, our relationship had advanced rapidly in these days. After dinner, he took a call, and I waited downstairs. Suddenly, someone appeared, slapped me across the face, and hysterically questioned me. It's you again, it's always you. Since when did you and Simon get so close? Miranda's eyes were bloodshot, her hands trembling violently, one after another. You seduce them all. Everyone loves you. Why? Kevin used to love me so much, whatever I asked. He did, but this time, even though we were together, he still kept thinking about you, wanting to know what you were doing. How could he treat me like that? And you're just some country girl. Without us, you'd probably still be out picking corn. My face burned faintly with pain. He doesn't like me. You've got it wrong. This is between you and him. You should talk to him. No one knows better than you how much he cares about you. Miranda let out a cold laugh. Really? Then I guess all his sincerity has been wasted. Just then, Simon came down from upstairs. He glanced at my face, then turned a cold gaze toward Miranda. Miranda was clearly losing control. I suddenly thought of the girl who had once quarreled with Kevin in the cornfield 7 years ago, so full of life, so radiant. Call Kevin, I said. Simon looked at me in surprise, but eventually pulled out his phone and dialed Kevin. Selena just got slapped. What the hell? Who? Where? And why are you with Selena? Kevin's voice burst through. Simon replied coolly. Miranda did it. Come pick her up. There was silence on the other end for a long time. Not long after, Kevin arrived. He looked at me, then at Simon, hesitating. You too. I was about to speak, but Simon's voice cut in, low and firm. The mess you've created. You clean it up yourself. Why drag someone else into it? Kevin frowned, clearly irritated. My mess? And what about you? Since when is Selena with you? Weren't you the one who never liked women? I drew in a deep breath. You'd better take her home first. Kevin broke off mid-sentence, gave me a conflicted look, but in the end said nothing. He left with Miranda. Chapter 11. When I got home, I received a message from Kevin. Why were you with my brother? You too. I replied. There's nothing going on between us. The screen showed typing for a long time. Then he called me directly. I've been thinking for a long time. The truth is, with Miranda, all these years, it seems it was just an obsession. I cut him off. Check your messages. I just transferred some money to you. His voice faltered. I continued. All these years, I've kept track of every penny you spent on me. I'll repay you bit by bit. I'll always remember your kindness. But from now on, we're just benefactor and beneficiary. Nothing else. Your feelings, your life, I won't get involved anymore. Kevin let out a long sigh. That's not what I meant. I never wanted to cut ties with you, but I do. Simon was right. Before, I had gone down the wrong path, using the wrong methods. That's why I ended up hurting both others and myself. And if I said I like you, that I want to pursue you, to be with you? I froze. Then silence stretched long between us. Finally, I asked, is love that comes too late still love? Before he could answer, I hung up. After that, for a long time, Kevin kept sending me gifts off and on, just like when he had begged me to chase after Simon. But this time, I felt nothing. I sold the apartment Kevin had given me, the car too, at a reduced price. With that, and the money I'd saved these past 2 years, I had a lawyer draft a repayment agreement in installments. Then I mailed it to Kevin. He called me. Do you really have to do this? Yes. He gave a cold laugh, his tone heavy. Because of my brother? You want to be with him? He lit a cigarette, sounding both irritable and mocking. Well, that's easy then. If you're going to be my sister-in-law anyway, why bother worrying about money? I sighed. Kevin, do you remember the first thing you ever said to me? He had told me he'd sponsor my studies, give me food and clothes, make sure I'd never run out of money in my life, and then he'd asked me to love him. He thought for a long while, then said cautiously, the first thing was asking your name? I smiled. Honestly, it stung. All these years, I had carved that first sentence into my bones, never daring to forget it. I repeated his original words, then added, I did what you asked of me, but now, I'm returning it all. I don't need your so-called endless money anymore. That means I can stop loving you, right? As for what I do from now on, and who I choose to be with, that has nothing to do with you. Chapter 12. After that, I ran into Kevin a few more times. Each time, he looked at me with a complicated, unreadable gaze. He had become calmer, more steady, though he never dated anyone. His mother sought me out privately. With a sigh, she said, "I've always liked you." Back then, when I said you should join our family, I meant it sincerely. Now that things between you and Kevin have turned out this way, well, fate can be cruel. As for Miranda, her ambitions are too big. She wants this. She wants that. From the start, I never liked her. It's better that it ended. She told me Miranda had been depressed for quite a while and had gone to see Kevin several times, but every meeting ended badly. As for Simon and me, we still contacted each other occasionally. He was always measured in how he treated people, never making anyone uncomfortable. Whenever we spent time together, he always knew where to draw the line. One day, he took me to see an art exhibition I had always wanted to visit. When we came out, it happened to be raining. We stood together under the eaves. He suddenly said, "I remember the first time I met you. You were so timid. You hid behind Kevin, clutching his sleeve like it was your only lifeline." I laughed. That's right. Back then, to me, he really was a savior. His brows furrowed slightly. "Selena, if you're willing." I looked up at him, cutting him off. "By the way, I applied for an overseas assignment. I'm leaving the day after tomorrow." Simon's expression grew dark and hard to read. "The day after tomorrow?" His voice was low, emotionless. I nodded. "There's an important project in Paris, requiring long-term work abroad. It's a rare opportunity, so I applied, and I was accepted." He was silent for a long while before speaking again. Bluntly, "Is it to avoid me?" I gave a soft laugh. "No, I just want to try. To start a new journey. I want to see how far I can go, relying only on myself." Chapter 13. On the day I left, Simon happened to be away on a business trip. Right on time, he sent me a message. "Safe travels. I'll be waiting for your return." I replied, "Okay." Dragging my suitcase downstairs, I reached the gate of my apartment complex, only to see someone I hadn't expected. Kevin. It had been a while since we last met. He walked up, took the suitcase out of my hand, and said, "Come on, I'll take you." "How did you?" He paused mid-step. "You want to ask how I knew you were leaving? Or why I came?" I sighed. "Both." He smiled. The arrogance he once carried was gone. In that moment, he even faintly resembled Simon. "How could I not know what's going on with you?" The truth was, he had always paid close attention to me. He had added the contacts of many people around me. When I first joined the company, he had even sought out my supervisor and taken them out for a meal. Hearing him say this, I couldn't refute it. As for why I came, 7 years. Selena, for 7 years we were inseparable, knowing everything about each other. Now you're leaving. Can't I at least see you off one last time? Of course you can, I said. He looked at me and reached out, wanting to touch my hair like he used to, but I stepped back, avoiding him. His hand fell empty, and at last, he just sighed. Let's go. From now on, there would be no looking back.